Hey y'all, so I'm back with a wig transformation video just in time for fall, honey. I'm ready for the red. So we are going to be using the L'Oreal High Colors. I'm using 2 boxes of magenta for the back, and I'm also going to use some of this red at the front a little bit later. Of course, we're going to use our 30 volume developer to mix in with our hair dye. Make sure you guys read the instructions, please. Wear your gloves and make sure that you have some kind of barrier on the floor because sometimes this hair dye can get everywhere, and red is really hard to get out of surfaces, okay? So we just want to start mixing that all together. And just for reference, I use 2 boxes of the magenta for the back and for the front as well. So when I'm dyeing hair, I really like to saturate the hair and then comb it through. And then I just repeat that process until the entire wig is saturated and ready to sit to develop for a few hours. Now I did let this hair dye sit on this hair for about 4 hours. And for the first dyeing process, I only use the color magenta. So just watch phase 1 and then we're going to come back and I'm going to tell you guys what we're going to do next. Now for the next part, I am going to go through and I'm going to separate the closure part of this wig where the lace is away from the rest of the hair. I don't want to stain this lace with red, honey, at all. It's going to be so hard to get it out. So I'm really going to take my time with dyeing the hair that's a part of the lace. I'm going to dye the rest of the hair all going toward the back. And then we're going to take our time to dye the frontal. So when dyeing the frontal, I really like to take my time, still get it saturated, but just try not to get any of the hair dye actually on the lace. A really cool hack is to actually spray down your lace with freeze spray or some kind of holding spray just to make sure that you can protect your lace. But I have done this a few times, so you may see me moving a little bit faster, but make sure that you take your time, try to get every strand as much as you can. And just like before, I like to always brush my hair dye through. You can also use a rat tail comb. I just like to dip the rat tail comb in the hair dye and then comb through each strand just to get the hair dye on the hair and not on the lace. Now, I have to be honest, y'all. The reason why I started off with just the magenta color is I was afraid that the red will be way too striking. And honestly, I was wrong because this is the hair color payoff that I got from just using magenta and it was a little bit too dark. So I'm actually going to go in with magenta again, but I'm going to add in the red in the bowl as well with the magenta just to make the red more intense. I'm going to use the 30 volume developer again and mix that all together. And we're going to actually re-dye the whole wig again. So after doing that, this is the color payoff I had, and it's actually the red that I wanted. I didn't want something too striking, but I wanted the red to be noticed. I basically wanted the shade to actually complement my skin tone. I didn't want something like way too alarming. And honestly, when I go through and create the foxtail hair dye with the black ends, I wanted the black to stick out more than my base shade. So I was really happy with this color, and now I'm going through and I'm going to start cutting. Now I knew that I wanted to do a bob because I saw a lot of people were doing long layers or shoulder length hair, and I wanted a bob. So I'm going to go through and start cutting and shaping this wig before I go through and create my layers and before I dye the tips of this hair. And I was so serious about this bob, honey. I had to go grab the clippers and put this wig back on the wig stand and go through and sharpen that bob and sharpen those ends as much as possible. I really wanted this look to come out a certain way. That's why I love dyeing wigs, because it's very versatile. You can take the wig on or off just to get your desired look. This step is really important, cutting, shaping, and creating those layers first before you apply any of the black hair dye on the tips of your hair, because you want to determine exactly where you want those black tips to sit before you apply it to the hair. So I was very intentional about this step, and it was really a lot of fun. So you're going to see me cutting, moving my hair around, creating those layers, and this is going to be really easy for you guys to follow as well if you want to implement this foxtail hair method in your next wig creation. So after cutting the bob, I really love the length of this wig, but now it's time to go through and create layers throughout the hair. And I wanted really dramatic layers because I wanted that black hair dye to be very prominent. Even though it is a bob, I still wanted to see those different layers. So I'm going to be very dramatic. It's going to be a lot of blunt cuts within this hair. And as you can see, before I'm cutting, I'm actually bending the hair because I know that's probably how I'm going to curl it. So I want to see how the hair is going to naturally sit and give me an idea on how it's actually going to look once it's completely styled. I'm not cutting too much hair in the front because I know I want more of a heavier bang for this bob look. And honestly, this was probably one of my favorite parts of creating this wig. Do not be afraid to cut your wigs or cut layers, because it's really just going to give your hair more character and body as well. I am a creative girl, so I love creating different looks and moods with different wigs and different hair pieces. So sorry about the lighting changes, but here you can really see how that red really stands out. I'm so glad I added the red to the magenta because this is the color that I wanted. But now we're going to go through And we're gonna start dyeing our tips, y'all. So after some reviews, this was the hair dye that the girls was saying to use, and honestly, this was the best choice. Make sure that you are getting jet black so your hair can have that beautiful black smoky look on the tips. So I really wanted to be careful when I'm doing this. We don't want to get any black hair dye anywhere else but on the tips of this hair. So I just used some foil and a hair clip, and I'm also using the end of this rat tail comb as like a guide to where I actually want that black hair dye to sit. And this is going to be a guide that continues throughout the hair dyeing process. So basically, just like before, I'm going to apply the hair dye to the hair, and then I like to go through and comb it in. But also your brush strokes are very important because I didn't want any harsh lines. I wanted it to be a nice gradient from the red into the black. So you're going to see me kind of angling my brush and creating those brush strokes. And you can see instantly by creating those brush strokes, taking the hair from those harsh lines into this beautiful gradient. It looks way better, you guys. And I'm just going to continue that process until all the tips of this wig is dyed. And I let this black hair dye sit for about 4 to 6 hours. Okay, so now you guys can see the results from that hair dye. Now I'm going to go through and start blow drying that hair and we can get to styling. I actually usually don't do frontals, so I'm going to go and apply this wig off camera. Right now I'm just hot combing it just to get all of those flyaways out of the way. And you guys, I'm not gonna lie, the way I initially styled this hair, oh my goodness, I was being super lazy. I really needed to take the wig off and style it on my mannequin first because I had to get every little row of this hair. But the way I initially styled it, you guys are gonna see. But make sure that you stay tuned until the end of this video because I'm actually gonna show you guys how I fixed this wig. Um After I just wasn't feeling the way I initially styled it beforehand, but I really love the layers. I already was getting a lot of compliments on this hair, and I'm super excited to actually do this look again with long layers in different colors. I want more of like a vibrant color. I'm thinking maybe a pink or a blue. I don't do color a lot, but I like experimenting with color. Um, I don't know, it's just super fun to create a different look, to have a different mood. And I don't know, it's like dressing up your character on a video game or something. It's super fun. And girl, my niece already asked me to dye her wig as well. So I got a lot of work ahead. I got a lot of work ahead of me. And don't worry, I'm going to make sure I show you guys the back as well. Just stay tuned. If you love doing your own hair like me, you guys, you have to invest in a three-way mirror, honey, because I honestly did not know how I was going to curl this hair in the back. And this mirror came in clutch, honey. And no, this is not sponsored. I just really love this mirror. And if you're interested, I will link it down below. And I believe I got this off Amazon. I'm pretty sure. But check that link out if you're interested. I love using this mirror, and guys, just look at those tips in the back. I thought that was super cute and just different. I really loved it. I have to do this look again on some longer layers. And this is how I fixed the hair, you guys. Like, the part is better, the hair is laying a lot flatter, and it's more wearable as well. I loved how I fixed this wig, honey. But if you enjoyed this video, you guys, subscribe and let me know down below, and I will see you in my next one.